So for those of you who don't know, Treasure Data is a customer data platform, and we help enterprise organizations unify their first-party data, unlock insights, and activate that data and drive business ROI. So this is my third year coming to Big Data London with the Treasure Data team, and it's always very exciting to see all these different technologies, all of these different platforms, and a lot of different advancements. And AI is a hot topic at this show, and it's not surprising, given a lot of the latest developments. It's in the news a lot. We're getting bombarded with the latest advancements in ChatGPT and generative AI. And there's a lot of hype around it, and even it's in the mainstream media now. I was even talking to my 70-year-old father about fake images generated by ChatGPT. So there's a lot of interest, but there's also serious consideration for enterprises and businesses. And what's really interesting is machine learning overall is reaching a tipping point where all of these different technologies are reaching product market fit. And a lot of the return on investment from the research on these technologies are reaching a point where the use cases are surpassing human performance. So it's safe to say that AI is here to stay, and marketing organizations, sales organizations, those are the people that we deal with day in, day out, need to seriously consider how to build in AI into their business processes. And we're seeing it from our own customers. They want to invest in AI, they're investing in AI, particularly in marketing and sales where customer data is key. And for those companies who don't invest in AI, there is a sentiment that they will fall behind. Particularly it's all about the bottom line. It's all about that driving that ROI. And we're seeing a shift away from things like Internet of Things and moving to artificial intelligence and machine learning, and specifically around business intelligence and analytics. But obviously, adopting AI comes with its own unique challenges. Firstly, access to high-quality data. So deploying these models do take large sets of data, and ensuring that you've got high-quality, accurate data is really key. And a lot of the primary challenges that we see from customers is that data sits in silos. So you've got CRM data, you might have transactional data, you might have e-commerce data, recommendations data. They often live in different systems, and being able to extract all of that data, unifying that data, it's pretty challenging, let alone ensuring that you've got cleansed and accurate data to begin with. Lack of skilled professionals is also an important challenge. We're seeing organizations start to invest in their own data science teams, but more often than not, they don't have enough resources to actually deploy the models across the entire organization. Often it's very limited to specific use cases or specific departments. And also what we're seeing is a lot of the domain expertise, a lot of the knowledge sits within very small teams like the data or the IT teams. And often that knowledge and that domain expertise is locked away from the rest of the organization. And I'll give you an example. So, we speak to a lot of different organizations, and we're showing them the benefits of the technology. And one customer in particular, we're showing them a UI-driven predictive model solution where a non-technical user can leverage predictive scoring, they can select features, they can fine-tune the models. And even then, the immediate reaction from the IT team was, we can't give that to marketeers. And it was a bit of a joke, but I thought it was a real shame that that expertise is limited to very few specialists, when organizations should be focusing on spreading that knowledge and expertise across the organization, so not just to the data and IT teams. Complexity is also a challenge. So, getting good answers and output from AI model, again, needs that domain expertise, but also making it work and understanding it is complex. So you need the right resources, you need the right tools to be able to benefit from those models. And there's also upfront investment. So, all of these different tools, they do need that investment. And more importantly, how do you measure the true ROI from AI and ML? How do you measure the true benefit coming from a specific technology or a specific feature? And the question also comes from our customers. How do you attribute conversion or sales or revenue down to that particular tool, that model, that feature, when there are a lot of other programs and a lot of other technologies that are in play as well? So adopting AI really requires a fundamental shift within organizations about how they think, how they operate, but also the culture that they're fostering to ensure that not just the data teams, but every team is data-centric. So we've talked about some of the obstacles, and there are a number of different ways that we can overcome those challenges. And a customer data platform can play a key role in helping to drive that adoption. So we talked about high quality data. So with a customer data platform, you can unify data from different sources. You can validate, enrich, normalize that data to ensure that you have an accurate data set before it's used in any of the models. But also ensuring that that data is accessible to the different organizations. So marketing teams, sales teams can self-service, so they don't have to rely on the data engineers, the data scientists every time they want to test a hypothesis or they want to optimize some of their marketing programs. Education, again, I talked about unlocking that expertise and ensuring that the rest of the organization can benefit from that knowledge. At Treasure Data, we have our own dedicated team of data scientists, machine learning experts. And what we often find really useful is, running product level ups or lunch and learns where other teams, other organizations can learn about different models, how they work, how they benefit different businesses. And I think it's really important to spread that competency across the organization. Technology, again, is really critical. You can see, there's different platforms and providers here. With the macroeconomic climate, we're seeing a lot of organizations consolidate their tech stock, but also, reduce their budgets. But I think it's still really critical to the success of that business. And then governance as well. Obviously, with AI, privacy and compliance is really a critical factor. So a lot of our customers, want to know about traceability. How do you know how that data, piece of data, has been used in a model? How have you come up with that score? Can you trace it back to where that data has come from? How do you ensure that you have the right consent to even use that piece of data in the first place for analytics, for modeling? So ensuring that you have the right data governance in place ensures that you can, run these models, efficiently, but also ensure that that can be used to power trusted experiences. So a customer data platform can help enable the adoption of use cases based on AI, and these are some of the key capabilities that our customers are looking for. So ingestion control, having governance over the type of data that's coming into the pipeline. Can you identify and validate PII? There are algorithms that we can provide to automate the detection of PII and then automatically categorize or label that data so that it's ready for model selection and preparation. Identity resolution, so again, another critical piece. So if you've got all of these different data sets coming from siloed systems, how do you stitch all of these identifiers together? And how do you know that, that's the right individual? So, connecting their behavioral data to transactional data, to their consent, how can we unify that data? Consent, I already mentioned that, so ensuring that you have the right opt-in for the right channel, for the right purpose, ensuring that while you're processing that within the platform, you have the right consent at the right time. Data lineage as well, I mentioned earlier traceability. So a lot of our customers are interested in, you have this output, maybe it's an RFM score or a predictive score. How have you processed that data? Where has that data come in the first place? How have you cleansed and normalized that data? And then how is that used in your models to drive that result? So having that traceability is really key for a lot of our customers, especially in financial services, where they might be audited by providing this particular loan or offer to a particular customer. We already talked about governance and compliance. Again, it's top of mind for a lot of customers, ensuring that you have the right controls in place to protect and secure that data. So there are lots of customer data platforms out there in the market. Obviously, they come in different forms. In Treasure Data, artificial intelligence and machine learning is embedded deeply within the product set. And they differ in terms of the complexity and level of effort. So we have, out-of-the-box models. I mentioned earlier, there's a UI-driven scoring engine that allows non-technical users to create, propensity scoring. But then we also empower data scientists or data engineers to build their own custom models or bring in their custom models into the platform. And one of the exciting things that we've released recently is automated machine learning. So this allows you to take the heavy lifting out of model preparation, fine-tuning, productionizing your model, so that you can expedite all of that data preparation and get results very quickly. And we're seeing the power of these automated machine learning solutions benefit the majority of the users of the customer data platform. I think a small part of the users are comfortable about preparing the data model, extracting insights from those models, whereas the large part of the users are more business users, marketeers. So we can empower both kinds of personas. So not just the data scientists or the engineers who might have that specialist knowledge. So you might think of this as the end-to-end machine learning pipeline, where you're capturing the business problem, you're preparing the data, you're fine-tuning the model, and then productionizing it. With these automated machine learning solutions, you can expedite a lot of this process here in terms of creating those models, abstracting that complexity away for those users. And it means that those teams can focus on maybe other projects as well across the organization. And let's look at some of the use cases that these automated machine learning solutions can help drive. So for a lot of our customers, they may have a small data science team who's focused on driving very specific use cases. With those automated machine learning solutions, again, we're abstracting that complexity away by enabling users to input very few parameters, such as what is their business goal, what data sources do they want to leverage to get started. So again, it expedites all of that model building, fine-tuning, data preparation in a very simple to use interface. And then those insights are fed directly back into the customer data platform so that they're available for use for the marketing teams and for the CRM teams. And often, that process can take weeks or even months. What we found with a large electronics customer is the performance of the model that was generated by these automated machine learning models was on the same level as models that were developed and built by in-house specialists, 2 weeks versus months. So again, it's about getting quick time to value and getting that business benefit. And again, in the same vein of expediting that data model deployment, the customer data platform can also provide notebooks. So these are pre-packaged solutions that specialists have developed over time. So things like exploratory data analysis, time series forecasting, or next best action. So again, it's enabling those teams to test and learn to deploy these notebooks very quickly. And then they can fine-tune the results. And again, they can visualize the output of their models very easily. So if they may need to validate the data or there's incomplete data sets, then they can fix those issues very quickly. Earlier I talked about data quality being really key to deploying these models. So because these automated machine learning solutions are hosted within the customer data platform, it has access to that rich data set. So leveraging something like the exploratory data analysis notebook, you can quickly validate your data sets if there's incomplete fields, if you need to generate some new data that can be used for feature selection. And again, because it's tied to the orchestration layer, you can quickly automate those data transformation rules within the same platform. And then we've talked about kind of the upstream processes. How can we then leverage those insights within the marketing and business organizations to drive revenue? So for instance, we can leverage that data to forecast demand. Again, leveraging some of these pre-built notebooks, we can input a few parameters within the UI, select a business goal, and then generate forecasts for sales demand or marketing demand. I mentioned earlier, RFM. Again, that's one of the automated machine learning notebooks that are available. So leveraging all of the transactional data, whether it's in store or online, all of the behavioral data captured from different touchpoints, we can feed that model into the solution, and these scores are automatically calculated and then appended to the customer profile. So again, it's about extracting that insights and making it available for the end users so they can self-serve and leverage that data in their campaigns much quickly. Next best action is one of the biggest topics that we often come across with our customers. So how do we decide what action, what campaign to take, which channel and what time do we then target our customers with that offer? And again, this is one of the automated machine learning notebooks that are available. So again, leveraging all of the transactional history data and behavioral data, we can predict what is the next best offer or the next best recommendation and campaign for that particular individual based on what we know about this particular profile, but also everyone else that's in the platform. So again, it leverages things like reinforcement learning to recommend the optimal action for that individual profile. And again, that insight is appended automatically to that profile. So the marketing teams, whether they're e-commerce or part of performance marketing, they can leverage that to drive their personalization programs, or they might leverage that data to drive their CRM campaigns. This is another interesting use case. It's around leveraging social network analysis to understand and pinpoint your influencers. So again, it's another automated machine learning solution where you can just input a few parameters based on social media data, and then understand and visualize how those predictions were made. So again, it's providing that transparency, going back to the point around traceability. And again, the output of the models can be visualized by the end users, and some of these results can then drive things like A/B testing. So knowing what we know about customers who have a lot of influence, can we test the content or the offers that we're showing and targeting those customers with based on those insights. So these are just a subset of use cases that we can help drive, leveraging these automated machine learning models. There are many others, but we also enable our customers and our partners to build their own models within the platform. So again, a lot of the enterprises that we work with, they may have invested in these data science teams over time, and they still want to leverage some of those models, but then benefit from the rich data that's in the CDP. So, we help those customers be flexible. So, there are these automated solutions that can expedite a lot of that model building, but we still provide that flexibility for them to leverage their existing investments. And again, the biggest benefit is just faster time to insight. Test and learn is what we often hear from our customers. Can we experiment very quickly with the data that's available? We can deploy these models very quickly and then leverage that within campaigns and see, are we getting the necessary results to drive those business KPIs. There are many other use cases that can help drive that adoption, but if we go back to that earlier thought around those different challenges, it's about leveraging the existing data that you have to derive those insights and ensure that that is then pushed to those different downstream channels. Thank you, everyone. If there are any questions, I think there is a microphone in the back. Thank you.